Carla Hinton, reporting for the Oklahoman and NewsOK.com. I'm here in the studio with Greg Womack, a certified financial planner with an owner of Womack Investment Advisors in Edmond. And we also have Doris Beaton, an Oklahoma City CPA who owns Doris Beaton CPA in Nichols Hills. We're here today to talk about kids and money, specifically how to talk to young people about the economic troubles facing our country. With all the recent talk about the nation's economy, the mortgage crisis, the higher gas prices, or at least in this past summer, job layoffs and other troubles, is it a good idea for parents to talk to their children about these issues?
Absolutely, because I think that children are aware of what's going on, whether they hear things at school, on the news, in the paper, or feeling your stress that you're having talks with other people, the stress that you're having because you don't know what might lay ahead for you. Right. So it's really important to address that.
Okay.
Okay. I couldn't agree with Doris anymore. It's very important because they do hear about these things on TV, at school. And so it's good to sit down with them and just really kind of put things on their level. You know, so they can hopefully absorb some of that and help explain it to them.
Okay. I was telling Doris, I think, when we were interviewing over the phone, that I had been driving around with my kids one day, and my 14-year-old daughter, she was telling me that maybe we could cancel one of her trips to one of her classes that she takes after school for sports. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, well, in the past hour, you've mentioned the high gas prices 3 times. And, you know, of course, I'm like all busy parents, you're kind of running kids back and forth, and I never thought that I had been doing that. But she was worried, you know. She said, well, maybe we shouldn't be, you know, doing this. So anyway, they do, like you said, they do know. They're aware. They're aware.
I think that's why you have to initiate the conversation, because children get scared. They feel your fear, and so it's really important for parents to start that dialogue.
Okay, great. Now, how should parents go about this type of discussion? You know, you mentioned that they should initiate it. Are there any, I almost started to bring a steak bottle, because you mentioned something about making things kind of seem natural and kind of talking about things as they come up. But how should we start this discussion?
Well, I think through everyday life, as you like you said, you're driving, you're talking about high gas prices. You know, how it's costing more to fill up your tank of gas, and how you may have to cut back in areas. You know, and it's encouraging to sit down with kids, watch the news, because they hear the news or they hear people talking about it, and just explain it to them. How does this affect us? You know, how does, you know, Dad still got a job, Mom still got a job, but you know, if things got really bad, you know, we have to cut back and look at trimming areas. But I think you initiate it by just saying, you know, what are you thinking about this? You know, what do you see? And then hopefully from there you can pull it out of them, begin a conversation with them.
Okay. And you know, I'm going to put you on the spot, Greg, but you you were talking to me about, you know, when you're at a restaurant, maybe getting you know, the steak bottle, the steak sauce bottle, and talking about that. Can you explain what you were saying?
Well, I always look for who makes good, well-known products, because those are good companies to invest in. So we was at the restaurant, and I said, hey, pass the steak sauce. I looked at the Heinz 57, the A1. Well, we know who makes Heinz. Well, who makes A1? Well, it was Kraft, and I said, well, Kraft's probably a good thing to buy, especially in tough economy. We still have to have food and food items, and so you can help the kids relate to that as far as the stock market, what they're purchasing, what they're owning, what do you have to have, even in a tough economy. And so that can be relayed back into an investment question, such as, you know, what should we invest in?
Okay, good. Okay, well, what are some of the mistakes that parents should avoid when they're discussing these issues with their children?
I think one of the things that they need to do before they start the conversation, they need to have some plans in mind. Because you want to reassure them and not share more of perhaps your concern or fear. So I think it really is talking to investment advisors, talking to a banker, having some plans in place of if one of us does have to look for another job, or if we have to move houses or something in that nature, that you've got some plans in place, and then begin to involve your children in that decision. Kids come up with great ideas, and they're very creative, like with your daughter. She heard it, and she had some solutions for you.
She did.
So I think it's also being open enough to open up that conversation of, you know, these are some things we're facing. What are some things we can do as a family together? but I think it really begins with the plan. Some ideas that you have, so that when you start, your children know we're not penniless, we're not going to be living on the street.
Right.
You know, that there are some solutions out there, and let's talk about them.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I think it does, just to bounce off to what Doris said, is this is an opportunity to really teach our kids about money in tough times.
Okay.
You know,
Absolutely.
sitting down and saying, you know, you hear about the news on TV,
Okay.
and in some areas it's worse than it is here, for example.
Right.
But and this is an opportunity to teach them, you know, how to clip coupons, how to look for things as far as value. My son, we were going out of town and to visit him in Colorado, and we were going to get a hotel. I said, "Dad, don't get a hotel. Stay at our friend's house here, and you can save, you know, $100+ a night."
Right. Sounds good.
And so I said, "Well, thanks for the offer." You know, you know, but that does help. You know, so they're aware. Their antennas are up.
Right. Okay.
And I think just letting them participate, like Doris said,
Right.
letting them participate in the process will help.
Okay, good. Well, now this is a biggie. Since Christmas is coming, what tips would you give parents who may have a smaller holiday budget this year, and should they talk to their children about this ahead of time? I know Christmas is coming fairly quickly, so what should they do?
Certainly, I think it goes back to age appropriateness.
Okay.
You know, that if we're talking about toddlers, talking about teenagers, but absolutely, I think with older children, they need to know that if things are tight, that not to have that expectation that they might have had in previous years.
Okay.
I think it's also a great opportunity to talk about budgeting.
Okay.
How much money do we have? You know, what will we be able to do? And also maybe to start some new family traditions.
Right.
We had talked about, you know, maybe this is the year that you do cookie baskets for everyone, or you make things, or you do special projects for people.
Okay.
You know, you can give out the coupons for I'll come and walk the dog, or, you know, rake up leaves or things, and maybe get us back away from that Christmas isn't just about exchanging presents that were bought.
Okay.
And so I think it's a wonderful opportunity to begin some new traditions.
Okay.
I think to echo that would just be make the list, you know, and tell your children to pick out the top one or two things that you might like, but don't expect to get everything. And,
Right.
And parents should do that also to relieve some pressure on themselves.
Right.
Because, you know, the last thing you want to do is go out and rack up a bunch of gifts on credit cards and pay those off over a couple of years. That's not a good choice. It costs too much money.
Right. And I think so many parents get in that trap too. Yeah. Having done that before, not in recent years, but having done that before when my children are small, I don't do that anymore.
And
but it's
so
a trap.
Tempting.
Yeah.
It's so tempting to do.
is.
And I think this is a great opportunity to model when you're doing that. To say, this is how we do a budget. You have to prioritize and choose.
Right.
And you're giving the best modeling you can.
Right.
To how do we deal with things as a family? How do we deal with things as an adult with managing money and credit?
Okay. Now I've heard both of you talk about it. It sounds like the adults are going to have to work on being good role models for their kids. It sounds like that's one of the first steps. Okay. Hope everybody heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, this is Carla Hinton reporting for the Oklahoman and NewsOK.com. Thanks to both of you for being part of this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.